A number of you were looking for me to repeat this haircut, but this time to slow it down a little bit. So a couple of things are easier to understand. All right, so let me tell you about Geraldine. Okay, Geraldine's hair is incredibly thick. Like, it is just you'll never ever come across anything like it, and she has never been able to enjoy it. Actually, it's that thick. It's just been far too big. It takes like hours to wash and dry it, and she just constantly wore it tied up. And when I say constantly wore it tied up, I mean all of the time. Now, when I started cutting Geraldine's hair, I introduced her to a disconnected haircut where I took a horseshoe section from the recession down to the occipital bone, and I cut everything underneath that finger tight, and then scissors over combed it. Never used the clippers or a razor or anything of the sort. Because I wanted to kind of choose my own length as to how it sat with the head and with the haircut. So, this is Geraldine post-lockdown, and now her undercut has grown out quite considerably, okay? So the problem now has become much greater because, and let me tell you, even when Geraldine had her undercut, she still tied the top of it up. So, she just simply wasn't able to wear it down. It was just like, it's that thick and that curly, okay? So, obviously post-lockdown, she hadn't had her haircut in, I'd say 7 months, because she was probably due a haircut when we went into lockdown. And she'd probably have her haircut every couple of months. We decided, and even though we've been talking about this since day one, we decided to go for change. The much overdue change. And to tell you, we were both absolutely shitting our pants. It was, I can't tell you enough. We really, really were, because I was terrified that it's so thick and so dense that as I cut it, it would just, we were like, I suppose that's the best way to say it. It was either going to work or it was going to be Sideshow Bob, and that's where my fear was. And it took me a long time into the haircut before I calmed down. So I'm using a round graduated technique. Okay, so it's an old sassoon technique that he would have used called a Firefly, but of course it's a much more updated version. The Firefly would have had much more of a wedge to it, but you will see that I started with diagonal back sections, okay? And now I'm working on more horizontal sections. And you'll see as I work up towards the crown section that I'll work in more vertical sections. That way it ensures that I don't have too much of a wedge, if you like, but that I have built up a graduation so that the curl can actually sit over that and do what it's supposed to do. So as I'm working through it, normally I leave this refining work until the end, but I really want to see the haircut develop as I'm going along. And this technique here is just constantly following the head shape. A lot of people have asked in the last haircut why I was cutting it dry. I'm not actually cutting it dry, I'm cutting it wet. It's just not very, very wet. And I have a fan blowing it as I'm cutting it as well. So you'll see that the little areas there are blowing away. Because I just want to see how the shape is developing as I'm going along. Strange and all as that may sound, but that's the truth. But please, no more questions about why am I cutting it dry, because I'm not. It's actually wet. It's just not dripping wet. Okay, so I'm still working along here, and I'm following that round graduation technique. I'm still not feeling very comfortable. I'm still shitting myself here, actually. But as I'm coming up around to that top section, look at all that hair that's still in clips up top, like, that'll give you an indication as to how thick this hair is. So, look, I've already posted this. It's been viewed nearly 400,000 times. And can I just say, and thanks to everybody for asking me to slow it down and put it up again. Can I just say, there were about like 10 negative comments. My page is all about kindness and love and you know, looking out for people, and I try and do my absolute best for every single one of my clients. Any kind of negativity, if you've got something negative to say here, please just move along. Please don't say it. It's not welcome on my page. It's not welcome here. This is how I cut Geraldine's hair. It really suited her at the end. As you can see, I do not cut into curly hair. I cut it blunt because I believe curly hair is a natural texture in itself. It doesn't need texturizing to make it work. The only thing that I do here is I visually run around the curl afterwards, but I still keep those ends blunt. Now, so as I was saying, please do not leave a negative comment, because it will be deleted and you will be banned from my page, and will be putting up a lot of haircuts. And you know what? Like, people will say free speech and all that, but no, free speech doesn't exist. You cannot say what you think. I'm afraid hate speech is hate speech, and it's not welcome in Ireland. Wherever else you might be from, it might be okay in whatever country you might be commenting from, but it's not okay here in Ireland, and I won't accept it, and you will be deleted immediately. So anyway, as you can see, I am still building my shape. Blunt cutting all the way, and I'm very happy with how the shape is developing. Do you see the way I vertically took the sections around the crown section? Because I didn't want to create such a low wedge on this, because it would have just made it look too bowly. Okay, and bowly wasn't the effect I'm looking for here. But I think around about this stage of the haircut, I started to feel a bit more comfortable. I could see that everything I cut so far was working exactly the way I wanted it to work, and the shape was building beautifully. And yeah, but I'm sure Geraldine was still incredibly nervous at this stage. So as I said earlier, it's a round graduation technique, just adapted to suit this curly head. And yeah, normally, as I said, I do that refining work afterwards, but I'm doing it now. And I'm just working around into the other side. So from one side straight around to the other. And always checking that balance, checking that weight. Yeah. There you go, making sure that. And I'm just running my scissors around it there, just to take away any loose hairs. And just make sure that there's nothing like sticking out there. Even though I'm paying enormous attention to detail, curly hair still has a mind of its own. Yeah. Just cross-checking, going in the other side. Yeah, you can really see the shape now starting to develop. And look at all that hair still left on top. It's like unbelievable, isn't it? So it's very important when you move around to the section that you're looking to balance, that you do not immediately look to balance it, that you remember that you're taking it section by section, and remember it's your last section that's going to balance with the other section. Okay, so remember that you're still graduating it, you're still taking it up in sections. Otherwise, and I've seen it happen before, I actually even saw it happen in a trade test with someone recently, where they had one side of the haircut done, and when they pulled down the other side, they cut it in one section thinking that it would balance, and I'm afraid it just simply would not. Before Geraldine met me, actually, all of the hairdressers she ever encountered sliced into her hair, sliced into her ends, which when she came to me, she thought that she had the worst hair in the world. She thought that it was frizzy and dry and broken and damaged, and nothing could ever be done with it. And that is because hairdressers thought that removing weight was slicing into the ends. And I'm afraid that's not removing weight, that's breaking up weight. So you're breaking up weight where she needs it, and she needs it through those ends, because if you break up the ends, they're going to turn to frizz. Okay, so removing weight on this haircut, or on this hair, sorry, not this haircut, on this hair has to be done through layering or graduation. And if you were keeping it longer, has to be done deep into the hair, but still with an attention to detail and a technicality that doesn't involve slicing into those ends and just like whipping it through, because it's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. So I'm working through the front section. You can see here that it's now actually looking a little bit like a graduated bob. And now I've got to make sure that my son doesn't eat all the chocolate spread. Come on, mister, out of here. Come on, he's sitting into your laptop. Sorry there. I had to go because Ruben was eating the chocolate spread, which isn't good. So, as you can see, Geraldine's shape is really pretty much done. I'm working in through all the freehand that I'm doing now is just snipping blunt tips into the ends, just to see what the distribution of weight is like. Very, very pleased with how it turned out. Cleaning up her neckline. And honestly, guys, it's not very easy to see from the video here. It's really not. But you'll see, like, Geraldine has literally 30 heads of hair. And you'll see from the video here that it's just in this lovely little... I think it's very French, actually. I think it's got that Parisian woman feel to it. And there ain't no point in blow drying this, because it would just go absolutely mad. And I suppose we could blow dry it straight. It would look lovely, but she'd never be able to do it herself. And Geraldine is a wash and go person as much as she possibly can be. And she just wants her hair to be as natural as possible. So I'm going to use Sebastian Potion 9 on it now. And I'm going to use dark oil. And and we're going to leave it dry naturally. Now, anybody looking for the after pics, they're on the page. But I'll immediately put them into the comments section on this if it uploads for me, because it's 15 minutes long. And sometimes it can take a long time to upload. So you can see her curl starting to work there. And just what I'm doing here is actually really important for the hair. I'm just kind of like working with, it's like you would on afro hair. I'm working with the hair and watching it develop as it's drying out. I purposely have a fan on it. So I'm allowing that to kind of dry it out as I've been going along. Yeah, and I'm just watching any loose bits that just come out. And you can really, really see the shape develop there. Hey, Ruben. Sorry, my son Ruben has just come into the room there. And now he's looking for a bowl of Cheerios. Are you looking for a bowl of Cheerios? Get me a bowl. Sorry. So now, as I'm assessing the shape, I'm just going round into the front here. And I'm just... Now, there you go. Take them into the front room and I'll be into you in a second. Now we have a full chat. So I think you can see that shape really developing now. And that front section is going to jump up a lot when it's dry. Now, take them away. Go on. And Geraldine, thank you so much for being so patient. And all in all, that haircut took a little bit more than an hour. It slowed down here to 15 minutes. Yeah, I have to say, I'm really, really happy with this. And yeah, please, if you're not going to say anything nice in the comments,